Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2022 Real Property Tax Foreclosure Bidder Seminar. My name is Frank, and I'm one of the auctioneers at Absolute Auction and Realty and the NYSauctions.com team. We've recorded this seminar because we can't do these seminars in person, and many of you have requested to watch these at your leisure. So this is a brief overview. If you want a more extensive information on property tax foreclosure and how it happens and what you can do to participate, we have what's called auction hour seminars on our website, aarauctions.com. There are 3 of them. Each one is an hour long, and you could watch those to get much more detailed information. This is going to be a brief overview, just to give you the information that we generally provide at the in-person seminar. And it's designed to let you watch it at your leisure. First of all, if you have very specific property questions, you want to contact a local town or village building department. Those are the people most informed about these properties, and they can provide you with specific information on the property itself. If you're calling or looking for information about taxes, you're going to want to reach out again to the town or village, the school district, or if you want to learn what the county taxes are going forward, you're going to call the county finance department or treasurer's department. Very general auction and participation questions should be emailed to info@aarauctions.com, and we'll get someone in our company to respond to you as soon as possible. We sell all types of properties at auction: improved, vacant land, majestic property, property that needs little help, of it needs a lot of help. We also have great lakefront property or lake view property. They're quite rare at the auction, but we do have them. So the properties that are in this auction are here because of what's called Real Property Tax Law, Article 11. And there are specific processes that the counties must follow. If you're interested in learning about them, you should do a Google search for NYSRPTL Article 11, and you'll get to the New York State Senate site, and you'll be able to find the real property tax law that I'm speaking about. Before I go too far in this seminar, it's probably a good idea to get out your iPhone camera or your cell phone camera and take some pictures of these slides as we go forward. You can certainly stop and go back, rewind a bit to do that. But there are some things here that you may want to refer to later. Article 11 is the law. Everyone in New York State must pay tax. And in New York State, you're allowed a 2-year and 3-year on certain properties tax delinquency before it will be foreclosed on by the county, title taken, and then according to Article 11 must be sold at public auction. So what are the 2-year parameters? Every property type and classification, whether it's vacant land or improved, will be foreclosed on with a minimum of 2-year tax delinquency. The 3 years applies to agricultural property. And of course, by local law, counties can extend that time period. Property tax foreclosure involves tax bills and notices. There are specific public notices that are published. We'll talk a little bit about interested parties, what's that 90-day notice, and the presumption of validity and final judgment. So everyone gets a tax bill. You'll get an annual tax bill, and you're required to pay it on time. If you don't, there are certain late fees and interest penalties, etc. Even if you don't get your tax bill in the mail, you're still required to pay your taxes. And this has been proven through several court cases and challenges to notification processes. Just be aware that everyone must pay their tax every year, whether you get your bill or not. The public notification, there's a requirement to publicize the list of properties in the official countywide newspapers. There's time frames involved. You'll see these things posted in your legal section. And from there, you could begin doing your basic homework. Our experience is these lists are quite extensive. They're way before the deadlines of taxes that are due. and final. And I wouldn't put too much time and too much stock into this list being complete. Once the properties have received a judge's order signing title to the property to the county, that's when we get a list and we go out and post signs, take photos, and post them to our website. That's typically about 30 days or so, sometimes more, prior to the auction date. That's probably the best time for you to start doing homework. When we talk about homework, and these are interested parties that are notified through a title search, you're going to do the same type of work that the county does. You're going to want to go to the county clerk's office, look for recorded liens, as they are the only liens that are valid. You'll search by the last name, first name of the delinquent property owner, and make a list of any liens or judgments that were discovered. That same list you can verify with the treasurer's office as to who did they notify. Everyone who has a lien, whether it's a bank, a hospital, a small business owner, anyone that has a judgment or a lien against the property in question in the auction, has to be served notice of the impending foreclosure, and they have a period of time to step forward and protect their lien. If they don't do that and basically pay the taxes to keep the property out of the tax auction, then the property will go for judge's review. He'll sign or she'll sign the order of judgment to the county, and then all the liens are wiped away as far as you're concerned. Now, if the county did not discover a lien, let's say it was overlooked, it wasn't found, that lien is a properly recorded lien in the public record, then the property will be transferred to you with that lien still in effect. So that's why we suggest that you do your own title search, verify with the county who they notified, and as long as the items match item for item, then you could rest assured that you won't have any lien issues going forward. Now, we mentioned the IRS. They have 180 days following the date of the auction to buy the property back from you for everything you paid and closing costs. They will not pay for any improvements that you may have made in that time frame. So if you're looking for liens, look for IRS liens also, then verify with the county that the IRS has been notified. If the IRS has been notified and you close and take title to the property, you can request from the IRS in their New York State office for a lien release, and they'll send you a letter stating that they relinquished their lien interest in that property as you are the new owner. Just keep in mind, some liens, again, that are not notified may still be in effect. The 90-day notice that we mentioned has to do, again, for interested parties. They're served notice that they have final 90 days before the judge will sign the order to protect their liens. And if they don't do so, then those liens are extinguished going forward. There has been numerous court cases challenging this entire process. And the bottom line is that it's presumed that as long as the county has followed all the steps of Article 11, that this is a valid foreclosure, it's legal, and that the liens will be transferred to you free and clear of liens going forward. So there are many properties to choose from. Just this week and going into next week, we're going to be visiting approximately 500 to 600 properties for signs and photos. We know you're not interested in all of those properties, so how do you narrow down your choices? Well, first of all, you're going to have to do your homework, and you could be either overwhelmed, quite methodical, or just fatigued by this process. And we understand that. This isn't something that you do every day, so maybe you want to hire somebody to do the searching for you. But if you're going to do it yourself, there are several things that you should be looking for. One of them is the assessment report. You're going to want to look and see how the property is described in the public record. And in the public record, you're also going to find a property tax map, and you can look at that. You'll see a former owner's deed recorded in the public record, any IRS liens. And then you'll want to contact separately the town, the village, or the school. Now, a lot of this information is available online. We're going to show you how you can do that. Here's a free website that you can go to. It's called ImageMate. It's by a company called SDG. and they have a lot of information for a good majority of the counties throughout New York State. Now, not every single county uses SDG ImageMate, but if it does, then you should be going to this site right here. And you want to take a picture of this slide and go to that sdgnys.com/#IMO shortcut. And you'll be able to look at a great amount of public information. One of them is an assessment report. And this will have a lot of good detail information about the property. There'll be links there to reports that you can look at. You can look at tax map information. You can generate reports, print them out for yourself, and you could also find Google Map links. So here's what that assessment report looks like. It's very detailed, gives you square footage, different property information that the assessor has entered into a statewide database. You'll also be able to look at property tax maps. Now, these are not survey maps. These are tax maps. These give you an approximate shape, dimension, and location of properties relative to others and relative to streets and highways. It's a great source to start doing your homework right there. I mentioned the Google Maps. This is a great tool that's part of that information. You can click on a share to your phone, a Google Map link with a pin, and it'll give you driving directions from wherever you happen to be directly to that property. Keep in mind, most improved properties have a full street address, including a number. They're easy to find. Vacant land, not so much. Most vacant land has no street number, and they're not the easiest to find. So you're going to want to use this type of map linking with your cell phone in order to drive directly to the parcel. Now, deeds, those are a good thing to read to verify the size of the property. You may want to look for things in the deed like rights of way or easement or other specific property information. The good news is that many of the counties today are completely online with the deed. So you can look up the book and the page. And that information was on the previous information I showed you, the assessor's report. They list the book and page. Make note of that. And then when you go to the county clerk's office online, you can look up specific property deeds. Now, most counties will charge you either a per page printing fee or a day pass fee in order to access the information. It varies all across the state. So take a look at that on your own. Now, do you do this title search yourself or do you hire a professional? If you're confident in doing your own work and rely on your own info and what you've discovered, good for you. I've been involved in this work for over 20 years. If I was to do this type of research and I can't bid on property, can't buy any in the auction, but if I was able to, I would still hire a professional and let them get me a title report. You're going to want to definitely look for IRS liens, as these have a 10-year lifespan from the date of filing. They can be renewed an additional 10 years. As long as the IRS was notified, they're no different than any other lien holder, whether it's a hospital, a nursing home, state income tax. All lien holders that are notified can be extinguished by this process. Again, the IRS has 180 days from the date of the auction to acquire the property directly from you at no profit to you and no loss. Now, local rule means that there are town or village codes governing the use or improvement of property. You're going to want to find out about potential water services or any sewer districts. You want to learn about the schools. These are local information, and you should contact the appropriate local agencies to do that. So, are you done yet? Well, I wish I could say yes, but not quite. You're going to want to learn more about these properties. You know, real estate's a local event. So counties are big places. They have lots of different parcels. And you're going to want to look for recently closed sales nearby to the subject property you're looking at in order to start to gain an apples to apples comparison for value. And there's many ways that you can do that. You can reach out to the realtor community. That's great. But they don't work for free. So you may want to consider hiring a local realtor in order to provide you with some information for a fee for that service. You could also look at sold sites. Realtor.com has sold information. So does Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, etc. There are a whole bunch of sites that you want to look at. Sold. Sold means that's what somebody was willing to pay, and that's the best comparison. Of course, you can look at listings like for sale, your local paper, Harmon Homes, House Upstate Magazine, etc. But those are the asking prices, not necessarily what properties sell for. While you're reviewing property, you're going to want to start taking a look at any cost of repairs or upgrades. And there are a number of ways to do that. Supply houses are great references for the trades. You may want to get some written estimates ahead of time and ask for satisfaction references from former clients of these tradespeople. It's important for you to understand that what you're buying may need some help, might need repair, might need upgrade, and you're going to want to get a good idea of what that investment may be going forward, and that homework needs to be done prior to your bidding. Again, when you ask a professional for advice, the advice is not always free, and keep in mind that free advice is not always best. So just be prepared to pay someone for their information or service. You're going to want to ask the hard questions first. If you see property that has yellow tape or violation signs, or in visiting the property, maybe you've actually witnessed some things that are quite questionable, you're going to want to ask further questions. And maybe some of the questions have to do with zoning, maybe some have to do with code violations, etc. Zoning dictates how properties can be used. So, can you build there? Can't you build there? Is the property big enough to do that? What can I do with this building? That's zoning. And you're going to want to ask those questions on a local level. Building codes have to do generally with safety and safety of the property. What's the design? What's the construction? Have there been maintenance issues? So again, the code department on the local level, that's going to be a great source of information for you. You're going to want to learn about services. Does it have private or public services? Things like public water, sewer, gas, electric. Those are good things to learn about. In very rural areas we go to, sometimes cable, telephone is not nearby. Neither is electric. I visited some properties recently that are completely off the grid. So you're going to want to know that prior to bidding. At the same time, if you do see a well or a septic system, you may want to ask locally and on the county level, what is the condition of that well? If it's known, how deep is it? Does it have potable water? Is the septic tank working? That may be local issue or countywide issue, and you're going to want to ask those questions. Here's an example of property that may not have road frontage. New York State does not recognize what some people call landlocked property. Consider landlocked being property like an island. It has no road actually touching it. And how do you get to it? So on a map, this property looks like it has a road. But in reality, those roads don't exist. They're just drawn on engineered plans and in the tax map. So when you take an aerial view of this property, you discover that it's just land, just woods. There are no roads there. So how do you get to that property? Some properties have a deeded right-of-way. That means you can make access to the property and use it for safe passage. Some have an easement. That's a right to go over somebody's land to get to yours, but you can't necessarily put in a driveway or a road. You want to ask some legal advice. We're not attorneys. We're not giving you legal advice. We're just giving you general information. But you're going to want to look for ways to get to property that we can consider to be rear property or landlocked property. How do you know that we're calling it landlocked or rear property? Typically, we're describing them as may not have road frontage. And when you start looking at maps and photographs, you'll see that they don't actually touch a roadway. Get all your important questions answered before bidding. At auction, when you start bidding, that means you want to buy the property. So are you ready to purchase? Let's try and get you good to go. So one of the most important things to be ready for at the auction is your finances. At the conclusion of bidding, a down payment will be required immediately, and that's going to be done through a credit or a debit card. And then after the auction, there's going to be a 30-day period or less to close. That means finishing out the transaction in a legal sense so that you are the new deeded owner. Keep in mind that all county tax properties are sold with no contingencies, no financing, no inspection, no excuses, closings. Any type of homework that you do needs to be done prior to bidding, and there are no changes to that format. We do accept credit or debit cards at the auction, Visa, MasterCard, and Discover, and we suggest that you call your card provider before you go to use that card and tell them, I'm making a real estate purchase. And you're going to want to estimate what your down payment is. An easy way to do that is to visit our website, nysauctions.com, and look for the down payment calculator. We have every county laid out in terms of their minimum requirements. You could put in the bid amount. You can take a click on that calculator, and it will show you exactly what your minimum down payments for the day will be. And then that's the kind of information you want to relay to your credit card provider and tell them, I'm going to make X dollars down payment on my credit card. They'll confirm that you've made that call. They'll put a note in their computer system so that on the day of the auction, when we run your card for the transaction, it actually works. Now, the auctions are primarily online again this year. We only have a couple of auctions that are contemplated as being in person. But for all other auctions, you will need to fully register online. At all auctions, you can bid online. So if you, even the in-person auctions, if you choose not to attend in person, you could bid online. You're going to want to look for the bidder information packet and get yourself registered. And you do that by getting a username and a password. You're going to have to provide proof positive identification of who you are. We use DocuSign system. Makes it very easy to use at home, very simple. It's quite secure, and we've registered thousands of people this way. But we do need proof positive identification of who you are. You're going to acknowledge that you've looked and read and understood the agricultural district disclosure, the agency disclosure, the new LLC disclosure if you're using that. And you're going to be able to go forward in your registration process as long as you check the boxes. So we do have New York State agency disclosure that we work exclusively for the seller, meaning the county. There is a federal lead paint form that lets you know the county has no idea about lead paint on these properties and that you will waive your right to do any post-auction inspection or the 10-day waiving your right to do an inspection. You're buying them as is, and you're not going to have any complaints later should you find lead paint. We have you sign and acknowledge, rather, the agricultural district disclosure form. Some properties are in an ag district, and you're going to buy them that way. There's a new fair housing notice that's been in effect the last couple of years, anti-discrimination disclosure notice, and there's a new LLC. Proof of existence notification that you'll need to file if you're going to be buying these properties as an LLC. If you're bidding on behalf of someone else, not your married spouse, it's a partner or a partnership, you may need to have a power of attorney. We have a form that you can download on our website. That's just one form of many that you can use to submit. But you will need to provide that permission if you're going to be bidding on someone else's behalf. So at the outset, we've talked about all the different homework things that you need to do and all the paperwork. And sometimes when you go to buy real estate, you still feel like this guy. It's like things are tilted against you and you're on the wrong end of the field. The nice thing about auction is that by everyone performing the same paperwork and homework in advance, we create a level playing field. And the way we do that is through the terms of the auction. That makes all buyer offers equal. The only difference is the dollar amount bid. So every county does have terms and conditions, and we're going to have a separate recording specific to the county that you're interested in, talking about their terms and conditions. So you're going to want to take a look on our website. We're back to the email and make sure that you're getting to the correct terms and conditions recorded seminar. Once you get to our website on auction day, you'll see that the properties are going to be featured, the one that's being bid on, and then there's a list of properties to follow. It's easy to follow. Bidding happens one after the other. Sometimes we have 2 or 3 properties being bid on at the same time because people continue bidding on the property as they're scheduled to close out. It's very simple, very easy to follow. It works really well. We've sold several thousands of properties already through this system, and it works seamlessly. Once you are the high bidder, you will make an immediate down payment through your credit or debit card. We'll do that through our office, and then we're going to start sending you paperwork necessary to begin heading towards the closing process. You'll get a contract of sale. It's a very simple one-page document, contract of sale. We're going to process, again, your debit credit card. And then, this is kind of interjected here. Here's that down payment calculator I mentioned a few minutes ago. On our website, it shows you that you can search your minimum payment amounts and what they'll be. There are also some additional forms that you're going to sign at the auction. Not only the one-page contract of sale, deposit a receipt, but also there's some required New York State forms. There's a TP 584, which is the transfer tax report, and then a transfer of ownership report, the RP 5217. Those are all filed electronically with New York State, and that's how they keep track of all the property sales that occur. And they also use that information as part of the assessment information going forward on properties. A quitclaim deed will be sent to you by mail once the county approves your bid. Right, all property bids have to be reviewed by the county. We don't have minimum starting bids or minimum bid requirements. They're reviewing to make sure that the buyer is not a delinquent taxpayer in their county. They don't want to sell more property to people who are not paying tax. So that's typically what the review is for. Once the county approves your bid, then all the paperwork is filed with the county clerk's office. And in New York State, the legal definition of when it becomes legally yours is when the deed is recorded in the public record. That's when it's officially your property. Even if you fully paid for it weeks before, it's still not your property until it's recorded. So when you get the quitclaim deed in the mail, that's when it's yours, and you can go and start doing whatever you need to do on that property. Typical quitclaim deed is 1 page and transfers title to you. So that's a general overview of what you should do and how things work at the tax auction. You should certainly follow the advice. If there are any additional steps that your attorney or tax professional tells you to take, you certainly listen to their advice as advised. But again, if you have property-specific information, you're going to want to contact the local town or village, the building department, the code officer, and then for tax information, town, village, school, or on the county level to find out about future taxes. General questions about the way to register or how you're going to participate in the auction can be sent to info@aarauctions.com. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll look forward to hopefully getting to see you all again in person and in a not too near distant future. Thank you and have a great day. Welcome to the 2022 Otsego County, New York Real Property Tax Foreclosure Auction Bidder Seminar. We're going to briefly review the terms and conditions of this auction and lead you to other resource information sites where you can gain a greater understanding of the process. If you have property-specific questions, you should contact the town or village building department where those parcels are located. Those individuals are the most knowledgeable about specific property information, whether it's buildable, whether it has code violations, etc. If you're asking questions about taxes, you want to contact the town or village, possibly a school district, and then countywide tax, the county finance department. Any general auction questions should be emailed to info@aarauctions.com, and we will have somebody in our office get back to you as soon as possible. Now, the terms and conditions for this auction are established by Otsego County, and anyone who wants to participate in the auction needs to acknowledge that they agree to these terms and will follow the conditions set forth. And we're not attorneys, we're not attempting to explain law to you. And if there are questions that you have about some of the things being said in this seminar, please consult additional professional guidance from either your attorney or tax accountant. So the terms of the auction mean that all bidders are required to register and provide a suitable identification. That identification typically means a valid driver's license or passport with photo identification. You're going to be working with the bidder packet that is going to come from DocuSign, and DocuSign will lead you through the way to enter that information so they can verify your identity. So you'll go to the aarauctions.com website or the nysauctions.com website. You'll begin by looking at the internet bidding packet, clicking on that link and following all the steps. You do need to complete all that information in a timely manner, no later than the close of business on Monday, April 18th, 2022, in order for us to be able to have time to review your paperwork and approve your bidding status at the auction. The standard terms go on to say in number 1, Otsego County acquired title to these properties through Article 11 of the Real Property Tax Law in New York, and all known rights of redemption under that law have been extinguished. We've already gone over extensively how this occurs in our auction hour pre-recorded seminars. You can take a look at those on our website. We have 3 one-hour seminars on how tax auctions work, what the requirements are for counties to conduct due diligence, how you should conduct due diligence, and we would direct you there for viewing and audio information. The purchaser will be responsible for payment of any village taxes levied after October 15th, 2021, and the 2021 and 22 school taxes, and any additional taxes, penalties, or interest charged or levied subsequent to the auction. It's important that you understand that means after the auction. But for current purchases, you'll have to pay the village taxes levied after October 15th of 2021 and the 2021 and 22 school taxes. All bidders are advised to inspect the properties and to examine title prior to bidding. So since we're not able to offer interior inspections, our team has gone out and done interior photos, which have been posted to our website on the improved properties that we believe are unoccupied. Some of the properties we did not gain access to due to condition, and we were not able to go indoors. For example, fire damaged properties are typically not something that we visit on the inside, and nor do we take anybody in to see them. Once the auction has concluded, title to these properties will be transferred to you by quitclaim deed and directly from the County of Otsego. The quitclaim deed is the simplest form of title transfer, and it works quite well. We've sold thousands and tens of thousands of properties this way through county deeds across New York State. If you have any questions or concerned about that, you should seek the advice of legal counsel. All of the properties being sold are real estate only. There's no personal property included. We advise that if you find personal property of value, including any vehicles, boats, etc., that you attempt to contact the former owner, again, probably using legal advice through counsel, and informing them you're the new buyer and give them a period of time to remove their personal property. Such notice only makes sense, but at some point you may become responsible to dispose of personal property that is on any of these properties. All of the information, including sides, photos, etc., are for identification purposes only. Nothing is guaranteed to be fully accurate, whether it's to size, parcel use, anything. We've attempted to get the most accurate information to you on our website as available on the public record. However, prior to bidding, you need to verify all of this information and be comfortable that what you believe you are bidding on is in fact what you will be getting at the transfer of title. All real property is being sold as is, where is, and there's no guarantee whatsoever as to condition or title of the properties. Once you've completed your registration, again, you're going to do that entirely online. And if you're an individual, it's fairly straightforward. If you are registering as a corporation, like an LLC or an INC, there are a couple of additional things that we need from you, like an incorporation filing receipt, your federal EIN number, corporate resolution. That'll all be led through the registration process. But we require that information now in advance of bidding so that we can complete all of the subsequent transfer and state required paperwork immediately after the auction. All required deposits at the auction must be made in full for all people who are high bidders, what we call successful bidders, and that's going to be immediately upon the closing of the lot. In the event that you fail to pay a required deposit, then the county may resell that property. And if for some reason there is a lower bid, the county has the right to pursue action against you, the defaulting bidder, for any money damages representing the difference in price. Be aware that these sales may not be assigned or transferred to anyone prior to closing. So if you are the high bidder, the way you registered is the way you're going to take title. The deed is going to be prepared in the name of the successful bidder as it appeared at registration. The county treasurer has approval authority for each bid at the auction and may reject bids for any reason whatsoever. Now, we're never aware of why bids are rejected, and they don't happen often, but the most common instance of why a bid would be rejected is if post-auction the county discovers that you, the high bidder, are actually a delinquent taxpayer in Otsego County. That's the #1 reason why bids are not approved. After the auction and bidding has transpired, you agree that you're going to execute the offer of purchase form and that you will sign all documents necessary to record title in your name once the transaction is accepted, fully paid for, etc. The successful bidder is going to be responsible for a commission paid called the buyer's premium. It's 11%. That's 11% based on your bid amount. However, we do offer a 1% buyer's premium discount for anyone using cash or guaranteed funds as a deposit funding mechanism. In addition to your purchase price, the county has imposed an advertising fee of 1.5% of your bid amount, and then you'll pay any additional closing fees and costs. The buyer's premium is the fee or commission earned by the auction team. So if you're trying to figure out what that down payment amount is going to be based on paragraph 19 of the terms, you should go and visit our website where we have a down payment calculator. You could go into nysauctions.com and look for the down payment calculator, and it will automatically adjust to Otsego County if you click on the right drop-down boxes. And you can enter in a sample bid amount, and it'll calculate for you the minimum down payment based on your bid amount. It's a great tool that's on the website, and we encourage you to visit that site. It'll also help you figure out number 21. The minimum deposit is the greater of $500 or 25% of what we call the total contract price. The total contract price is your bid plus the buyer's premium. So your bid and the buyer's premium together, we would take 25%. Whatever is greater, $500 or that 25%, that is the absolute minimum amount that you need to commit as a down payment. Any property selling for $500 or less will be paid in full. So if you're using credit card like MasterCard, Discover, or Visa, that's fine, but you should just call them ahead of time, let them know that you're anticipating purchasing real estate at auction. Let them know so that when the card is utilized for the down payment, that it is approved and it goes through their system. Now, typically, you're not buying real estate on MasterCard, Discover, or Visa, so they would be rejected pretty much out of hand unless you let them know ahead of time. If you're going to pre-fund your down payment through either cash or what most people do, guaranteed funds like a bank check or teller check payable to Otsego County Treasurer, those funds, that check needs to be in our possession at our office in Pleasant Valley prior to the day of auction. We cannot accept any wire transfers, certainly no personal checks, business checks, or any letters of guarantee. Purchasers paying by credit card or debit card agree that you're not going to attempt a chargeback. In other words, if you change your mind post-auction, don't go and attempt to tell your credit card company, hey, something went haywire here. I don't want to do this. We will impose a $750 recovery fee for going through the effort of providing the credit card provider with all the documents that you signed saying that you're not going to do this. In our experience throughout the years, no one who has attempted a chargeback has been successful. So if you are the high bidder and you use a credit card or debit card, just understand that you will be the closing individual on these transactions. Again, all bids are subject to the approval of the treasurer. He'll have the sole right and discretion to reject bids for any reason whatsoever. After the auction, the entire balance must be paid, and that includes your purchase price, the buyer's premium, and any fees and other costs that are part of this auction must be fully paid on or before noon on May 20th, 2022. That is the absolute deadline to pay. Now, payment after the auction is going to be made directly to Otsego County Treasurer and the Treasurer's office. So you can pay the Treasurer of Otsego's office by credit card, again, MasterCard or Visa only. However, they will impose an additional 2.65%. The Treasurer's office is prepared to accept cash or guaranteed funds, again, payable directly to Otsego County Treasurer. The additional language that's part of this process is time is of the essence. That appears to be a legal phrase in the contract that basically means that clock is ticking and you must perform by noon on May 20, 2022. If you fail to return the transfer documents or any of the paperwork needed to complete this transaction, you already are agreeing to forfeit your right in the property, and you're going to forfeit any funds that you've made as a down payment. In 26, all parcels which you are the high bidder must be paid in pursuant to these terms. There will be no selective closings. So if you buy one, you're going to be the high bidder on one, you'll pay for one. If you buy 5, you're the high bidder, you're going to pay for 5, and you'll close and take title. You decide to change your mind post-auction and you don't want certain properties, then go ahead and dispose of them at your leisure. They will be yours by quitclaim deed. But there are no selective closings. In the event for some reason that this sale is canceled by court order or judgment, you'll be entitled to any refund of deposits paid. And that's it. You're not going to be able to collect interest. There are no other ways for you to get additional funds. So we have never seen this happen yet, but the language is there for that reason. All sales will be final once the deed is recorded in your name. This is absolute and without recourse once title has closed and the deed is recorded. So the delinquent property owner cannot come back and pursue you for the property. None of the lien holders that have been extinguished through the Article 11 process can come back and pursue you. So as long as the lien holders have been notified, the deed is going to be in your name and nobody can come back and take it from you. Again, conveyance is going to be by a quitclaim deed, and that's how it happens. And possession of the property is forbidden until the deed is recorded. As a matter of New York law, title vests upon the recording of the deed. So when it is officially recorded in the county record, that is when the property is fully yours. Not on auction day, not if you paid in full, not even if you paid in full on the way to closing. Once the deed is recorded, then the property is yours. In the event that there are evictions necessary, that will become the responsibility of the purchaser. And the county is notifying you there that you need to follow the evictions proceeding that are in New York state law, including any executive orders that govern the eviction process. The successful purchaser also agrees that you will remove the auction sign within 7 days of the recording of the deed. So please take the sign away. And then everyone is going to acknowledge these terms and conditions, that you agree, that you're going to abide by the terms and conditions, and also, importantly, that you will not reconvey the property to the former owner or delinquent property taxpayer within 36 months following the date of the auction. So it's going to be at least 3 years before you're able to transfer this or sell it back to the delinquent owner. Everyone will execute this paperwork as part of the bidding packet in addition to all the other forms. There may be additional steps recommended by your attorney or tax professional, and you should follow their recommendations. Again, property-specific questions should go directly to the town or village building department or tax assessor. People on the very local level who are keenly aware of these properties, they can answer questions for you. And taxes, call the appropriate town or village office, contact the school district, or for county taxes, county finance department. You're mainly interested in understanding what the taxes are going forward. However, I just want to let you know that our website will contain a list of taxes due at closing. The ones that we'd mentioned here and going over the terms and conditions with you, we will be getting those from Otsego County and they'll be posted to our website so you can understand what they are. You should make follow-up phone calls, verify information, verify taxes recorded. Just verify. Do all the due diligence prior to bidding. At auction, when you're the high bidder, you're telling us, the county, and everyone in the world that you want to buy the property and you want to become the successful owner. We wish you good luck in the bidding process. Good luck in bidding on property in Otsego County, and we look forward to one day meeting every one of you in person.